It is good to see you again this afternoon, and many thanks for joining us at this hour and for choosing K24 TV. My name is Bentura Kombokara, sign language interpreter will be Evelyn Wangui, and now let's take a look at what is shaping our broadcast at this hour.
CIA, there were a number of arrests that took place in Eldoret, and all of them relate to adults. The students are not really part and parcel of that particular syndicate.
Adults are the primary perpetrators of examination malpractices in this year's national exams. Unlike previous years when students were the main culprits, Education CS Julius Migos affirms. Impeachment motion filed against K24 County Assembly Deputy Speaker Eric Bett for alleged gross misconduct months after the same assembly impeached Governor Eric Mutai.
Tunatoa wale ambao wamenajisiwa ni wengi sana. Huu mwaka peke yake tumefungua kesi 67 tukifikia hapa.
Over 150 cases of child defilement cases reported in Sambweni, Kwale County alone, with the majority of cases dragging in courts for lack of witnesses. Welcome to the program. And Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Migos has revealed that adults have been the primary perpetrators of examination malpractices during this year's national exams, with a significant number of arrests made. Unlike in previous years when students were the main culprits, speaking after overseeing the distribution of the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education KCSE papers at the Kenya National Examination Council container in Kiambu County, Ogamba indicated that the Ministry of Education will release detailed statistics on examination irregularities once the exams are completed. Additionally, he urged school administrators to remain in their institutions as they await the distribution of CBC textbooks ahead of the January school term kickoff.
We are undertaking this examination under very strict regulations, and any malpractice, any attempts are being handled, and most of them are actually being handled before they occur because of the multi-agency approach that we are using, where we have teams in the ground, and the teams are able to identify certain malpractices before they happen. And because of that, we are able to arrest those attempts to ensure that the examination that we are going to finalize next week will be the most credible so far. There are a number of arrests that have taken place in CIA. There were a number of arrests that took place in Eldoret, and all of them relate to adults. The students are not really part and parcel of that particular syndicate. And I want to inform the Kenyans that once the arrests are done, the investigations are ongoing, and those investigations will be able to reveal the extent of the cartels that are involved in this particular attempts. And once we determine, we'll then be able to proceed with the prosecutions and ensure that whoever is involved faces the full force of the law.
And K24 County Deputy Speaker Eric Bett is at risk of being kicked out for alleged gross misconduct after an impeachment motion against him was tabled by Assembly Majority Whip Aaron Rotich. Rotich, in his motion, accuses the Deputy Speaker of consistently undermining Assembly leadership and engaging in action deemed insubordinate. During the session, Rotich claimed that the Deputy Speaker's action have hindered the Assembly's ability to effectively carry out its constitutional and legal duties. This comes just months after the same Assembly impeached Governor Eric Mutai for alleged gross misconduct, with the impeachment process later invalidated by the Senate.
This assembly resolves to remove Honorable Bates from office of the Deputy Speaker under Section 11A of the County Government Act 2012 and the standing orders number 13B of K24 County Assembly, standing orders on the following grounds. Number 1. Number A, that is gross misconduct. On various occasions, the Deputy Speaker has repeatedly engaged in Roman I, gross misconduct by A, persistently undermining the leadership of the County Assembly and committing acts with collectively amount of insubordination instead of assisting the Speaker and the Assembly deliver its roles. Openly supporting the County Assembly before Assembly efforts to discharge its roles under the Article 185 of the Constitution of Kenya and the Section 8 of the County Government Act 2012.
All those reports from the Office of the Auditor General are hereby committed to the Committee on Public Accounts Committee, led by the Honorable Chairman, Vincent Koris.
And in the past 1 year alone, over 150 cases of child defilement cases have been reported in Msambweni, Kwale County. This comes even as a majority of the cases continue dragging in courts for lack of witnesses, denying the victim justice. Following this, the Judicial Department in the county has initiated an awareness campaign on children's rights, which also aims to sensitize the community on juvenile cases.
Watoto wengi sana tunaona sasa wanashtakiwa na mashtaka ya kuvunja nyumba. Mashtaka ya kuvunja nyumba ambayo tunaita housebreaking na burglary. Of course tuna watoto wale ambao wamenajisiwa ni wengi sana. Huu mwaka peke yake tumefungua kesi 67 tukifikia hapa. Mwaka uliopita tulifungua kesi 85. Ukisema hizo ni kesi kama kesi 150 watoto ambao wamenajisiwa, hizo kesi ni nyingi sana.
Ni nafasi yetu ya kuhamasisha jamii, ya kuweza kuambia ya kwamba mahakama inaweza ikawapatia haki wakifika pale na mambo kama hayo, na pia kuweza kuwahakikishia watoto wetu haki zao, haki za watoto. Je, ni nini?
Dhulma za watoto ambao tunachukua katika kituo chetu ni watoto ambao wamebakwa, watoto ambao wamepitia dhulma ya ndoa za mapema na ambao wanakuwa assault.
Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs Cabinet Secretary Hassan Ali Joho has called for seafarers to undertake internship after school training to gain a sea-time experience before job seeking. Speaking at the Bandari Maritime Academy in Mombasa, where he led the graduation ceremony for 100 youths who are receiving their standard, of training, certification and watchkeeping for seafarers program, the CS urged leaders to include the seafarers programs in various TVETs for students interested in the sector.
We must develop mechanisms, mipango ambayo wakitoka hapa kuna some internship program ambayo itawapatia, or it will create an enabling environment kwamba wako tayari kupewa kazi ya kimataifa. And I want to tell you, mimi niko committed. I am very committed kurudisha hadhi ya ubaharia zaidi ya zamani. Niko committed and we will do it.
In other jurisdictions, sehemu nyingine ya dunia, meli ikiingia katika bahari ya watu, ni lazima kuwe kuna crew ambaye atakuwa ni wa nchi ile. And this is how countries like Philippines have grown, countries like Egypt, countries like India have been able to grow in the human resource katika mambo haya ya seafarers. I urge you, through your able PSs, you have our support. Our political support is there with you. Our and it is not something new Kama ni jambo lafanyika kwingine, kwa nini lisifanyike kwetu?
Elsewhere, farmers in Kenya and Africa have been urged to embrace contract farming to help them scale their agricultural practices, access better inputs, and access value-added markets. In a two-day international conference on contract farming held in Nairobi, Kenya Private Sector Alliance CEO Carol Kariuki has called on the government to have adequate extension officers to help the farmers have the right information and inputs to help them increase their agricultural produce.
Global markets.
I don't know the chicken.
That will come out of this is how we address this challenge.
How do we empower ourselves? How do we build capacity? I think that
something doesn't add up right there, and that's where we need to look at
that. To the government,
there was a big role and a big gap left when we don't have the extension officers. So private sector has been trying to fill. When a company is doing contract farming, they end up having their own extension officers, but that is not enough. So if government can go back there and have extension officers, also to reduce the use of wrong pesticides, wrong fertilizers, wrong seeds, and also curb. The other thing is we have porous borders where we're having wrong seeds coming in, where we're having pesticides and fertilizers that are not right for the markets that are coming in, and that's what is causing a lot of even some of the diseases that we're seeing among the population.
We are trying to subsidize some commodities like fertilizer, to ensure that even if they are in this contract, the benefit or other profit they get is much, much higher than when the fertilizer is not subsidized. We are also introducing something, in fact, we launched some of them last week on Friday. Agripreneurs want to bring in young professionals who are now available to talk to our farmers so that the capacity we are talking about, it can be what? It can be built very fast and then they do that.
And majority of hospitals are now slowly onboarding social health insurance fund SHIF for patients who have life-threatening conditions and those suffering lifestyle diseases like kidney failure and abdominal surgeries. Mohammed Venkris, a Nairobi resident from Kariobangi South, for instance, could not have afforded paying hospital bill for his wife, Eunice Atieno Odenga, who needed urgent surgery for a triangulated hernia condition. But with the majority of hospitals slowly onboarding patients initially from NHIF to SHIF, his wife says that she is lucky to be alive.
But we are in the process of onboarding SHIF, because we know, especially for emergency cases, we have to take care of patients before we ask for money from them. But we have already onboarded patients in the program, and care is continuing.
This is something that we have been waiting for to work, because for the past years we have actually helped a lot of patients with NHIF. But there came some bit of instability that made us not be able to take care of these patients that are coming to us. So we were waiting eagerly to have a stable system come along so that we continue offering care. I mean, the reason why we're here is to take care of patients, individuals, families, community. So of course we know that not long ago SHIF was activated and they introduced SHA. And now with this SHA, I can say without any fear of contradiction that as a RFH family, we are now taking care of patients that have registered with SHA.
Imesaidia bibi yangu kufanyiwa operation mpaka bibi sasa amepata nafuu. Teni sio kwa najua inaweza fanyika kwa mbele yangu juu mimi sina uwezo mbele aidha nyuma. Kasi hakuna. Bibi pia kuna kasi. RFH imenisaidia, amenitoa mbali sana. Mpaka bibi sahi anaweza ongea.
And Kenya Airways has recently launched an initiative focused on turning plastic waste into diesel as a means of generating a cheaper fuel while addressing pollution. And now let's get more on this innovation.
Uncontrolled disposal of plastics in Kenya often increases pollution and waste in the environment. Most of this plastic ends up in landfills. However, this month, National Airline Kenya Airways launched a project to turn plastics to fuel. The plastics are shredded and loaded into this hopper. Heat breaks the plastics down into oil, which is refined into diesel fuel for ground vehicles. The company's chief operating officer, George Kamal, says at least 1,000 liters of fuel is produced daily.
We get people to work here in the plant, and we get people to work in the community to collect that plastic from the community and pays money as well for the community. So we take that waste plastic from the community around and we use that. So 98% comes from the community around us. 2% comes from the airline.
Scientists say the diesel produced from plastic waste is less efficient than regular fuel, produces higher exhaust emissions and has lower flash point, meaning it catches on fire more easily. At the same time, oil supplies and prices are chronically uncertain, and Kenya barely produces any crude oil. So experts say creating fuel alternatives is crucial.
You begin to change people to renewable energy, and then also cut the dependency on fuel, on the traditional hydrocarbon fuels. And the earlier you do it, the better it will be for the country.
Also, plastic pollution remains a significant problem in Kenya, despite recent national commitments to increase recycling. An estimated 92% of Kenya's plastic is mismanaged and only 7% is recycled, according to a recent report.
We do use the plastics that is in terms of bottles and other like trays and such like things. So when they break, we would be forced to dispose them. But now with the plant, we are able to bring them back here and recycle the same to produce diesel.
The diesel production plant was designed by Kenyan engineers and is the first of its kind in the country. Kenya Airways officials say producing fuel locally is saving costs and reducing plastic waste.
At K24 Newscast, we have more news for you after this break. Stay tuned.
A dynamic, lively, inspiring and informative program which is hosted by Muyiwa Olarewaju.
God has validated you, has empowered you, and all you have to do is surrender.
It focuses on critical global social issues and powerful testimonies.
I lay there bleeding, potentially going to see Jesus. I called on him because I realized at 9 years old that I could.
While offering uplifting music from indigenous and international artists.